K-12 with autism should be self-contained or opt for general education. So I'm here to give you the pros, the cons, the pretty, the ugly of public school education, charter school education, whatever you want to call it, and even homeschooling, what that looks like. Because even when you homeschool, you still have to follow state guidelines when it comes to education. So, and I am Tonya Tolson of AJ and the Cool Kids. Is this on? Let's see. Probably.
Do you have the time cards? I do.
Okay.
Are you on time today?
Okay. Here we go. Let me go back. You want to make sure. You go back? I didn't want to go out. Here we go. Let's start it over. Because the pointer wasn't working at first. And go to president. I apologize. You know, technology is amazing when it's amazing. But when it's not, you do things like this right now. So just some background on me. Hopefully this works now. Yes, so I am Tonya Tolson. I hold a BA in English from Seton Hall University, Master's in Education Administration from Trinity in DC, and I'm a teacher and assistant principal, and I've been a teacher in that for 25 years now. All that fancy stuff means nothing when you're in the classroom. I don't care. They do not care.
No.
And I do have a nonprofit called AJ and the Cool Kids, and he's a cool kid. So this is AJ. And he is in general education, okay? When he first got diagnosed at 18 months, I was an 18-monther too. When we first had him, he had all the milestones. He hit them all. Everything's great. We were like, ooh, look at this baby. We got a baby, and God is funny because my kids are 20 years apart, so don't do that. So I have a 28-year-old and I have an 8-year-old. And everything was great. And then at 12 months, after you do that little, you know, you go to the doctor, you feel like, is he doing this? Is he walking? And I was like, oh my God, he's not doing this. Oh my God, okay, I thought he was, but he's really not doing this. So that is what like threw me for a loop. But then as an educator, the teacher had jumped on, and I was like, all right, no, let me figure out what's going on. So I called our state CDSA, as most of you probably did, and got, which kind of sucks right now because now they don't do diagnoses for you anymore. CDSA used to do the psychology piece. They used to come to your house. They did the testing in whatever testing environment you want to. But because of funding, they don't do that anymore. They come in, they do provide a speech and the OT once you get the diagnosis from your doctor. So you actually have to go through that long waiting list of months now to get that diagnosis for your child. But it's still worth it. It's still worth it. But he's 8. He was speaking up until 12 months, stopped at 12 months, and did not speak a word until 4. One word. And it was sad because he said a dog first before mommy, and that is okay. He called the dog's name, which is 80, that's Sadie, and he called his godmother's daughter's name, which is Kenzie. But it was because just listening to the people over Connect Strong, we had a village. And the village is who got him talking, okay? It was not mommy. He did not speak for me at all, but my village is the one who took him and got him to actually speak for the first time. So understanding the models. I'm not going to make you act like you don't know the models because you probably do, but general education, special education students learn in regular classrooms with support. Self-contained is special education students learn in separate classrooms with specialized instruction. Hybrid is what my son is in. He's in general education, but he goes out to resource for an hour in the morning, hour in the afternoon, and they work on those IEP goals. So that is what my son's in. So the pros, encourage peer interaction and social skills. Yes, my son is like, now I'm going to say this is an advantage for my child because I've been at my school, I'm an assistant principal at Mountain Island Charter, and people knew my journey there starting out. I've been there since 2013. And unfortunately, I had lost like 4 babies before I had him. So everybody was just waiting for me to get pregnant, And then he came. So he's Mountain Island's baby. Like, it's fun, but I don't have my child. So my support system looks a little bit different than other people's. So he does have those social skills. Everybody wants to help AJ. AJ is the people, like, they get in trouble for helping AJ. So that is why it's so important whatever school you choose has that community. And it's very, very, very educated in what it looks like and what you're supposed to do for that child. So higher academic expectations. His work just gets modified. He gets the same work. So if they're working on regroup and addition, he's working on regroup and addition. They have 15 questions, he has 7. And that's how it looks, but we do not change the work for him, because I tell them every day, you're looking back at that picture, yes, he's a cute little cherub, but he is not cute to me. I need him to learn. And that is what I give each teacher, who most of them are my friends, to give them the expectation. Just because he is differently able does not mean he cannot. That just means he is fooling you. And that is what I tell them all the time. They can do it. They may not be able to speak all the time, but their minds are working. And that is what you have to get your teachers to understand. Access to general education curriculum. That is very important. The world does not care that they're autistic. They need to know and, how to feel, how to operate in that world. Now, some of the cons that I've experienced this year as he's moving up, not enough one-on-one. I don't get that one-on-one a lot. He gets in resource, but at Mountain Island, our actual population has grown with autism. So, because somebody put in the Autism Society that we're the best school for autism. No, we're not. We're not. But it looks that way because we have a community. It's a community of people, so we love on the babies, but we're not the best place if your child is low functioning autism. We're not, but we take them, we do. We cannot turn anybody away, and it is a lottery. So if your child gets in, your child is in, and that's what it is, and we do the best we can to support them. Can be overwhelming for students with high needs. One thing about our school, we have earphones everywhere. So we are very sensitive to our special needs children. And if it gets too much, we put on earphones. If it gets too much, we have an aid, we take them out. But sometimes that's overwhelming. We had big assemblies for elementary, and sometimes the child just cannot handle it. So they don't get it, it's very rare that they don't get the support, but sometimes it does happen. Teachers having specialized training, that's not always available. You know how hard it is to find a special ed teacher. It takes a lot of training, it takes a lot of patience, and some teachers do not have the patience. They don't. So, the pros with the class sizes with personal instructions for self-contained. Specialized teachers trained for various disabilities, because your special ed teachers are trained not only in curriculum, but they're trained in takedown. Most people don't know what takedown means until your child runs off and you have to take them down. And you're not trying to be a WWE player, but you're like literally taking them down. Now my baby is a little meatball. He's little, but he weighs 95 pounds. So if you, it's almost taking out a little linebacker. If you're running and you gotta run after him and you doing this, and I'm only 5 foot nothing, and you're trying to take your child down. But the special ed teachers are trained in that. They literally have a class called Takedown on how to subdue a child if something happens, if they're having a meltdown. So they have that training. It's more structured. Their routine is the same every day. This is what we're doing, 9 o'clock, this is what we're doing. At 9 o'clock, we are changing to the water table. At 9:05, you might have to switch to another station, but they have that. In elementary, regular ed, you may not have that at all. Every day is new. So the cons is learner interaction with general education peers. Most times when you're a self-contained class, you only go to specials. So they're in that self-contained class the whole time, and then you might see your friends at general lunch. And for me, that is not a real big healthy environment for them, because they don't get the social interaction. May feel isolated from different students. How many times when you were growing up, and I was one of those kids, I had to go outside. Now, I'm from New Jersey, so in New Jersey, they had us outside in trailers. So every day, the teacher would come by and be like, hey, it's time to go to the trailer. How embarrassing is that? And we would all line up, and they would see us going down the hallway. They would look at the special ed kids going to the trailer. And that's how it was, because nobody, knew what to do. It was something you didn't talk about with families. Oh, he's just a little, how many times you heard he's just a little special, or he's just a little touch? Oh, that baby a little special, don't even worry about it. No, my baby is not special, he is fine. So you have the labels and the stigma that comes with this is something that we're trying to train teachers on not to do or try to single out. Because as you know, autism is such a hidden disability and nobody knows. He looks normal, whatever that looks like. Let's access the grade level curriculum. Sometimes with self-contained, we sometimes have kids that are high school level, maybe 16 years old, and they're learning stuff on the kindergarten level. We need to expose them to those grade level texts and those grade level things. They can figure it out. And most times, my son, he may not be able to tell you what happened in the story completely, but I tested it out. He can read War and Peace, but he can't tell you what War and Peace is about. But he's a sight reader. And those are the things that we kind of mess up on when it comes to these places, because you still having him see Dick run, see Jane run. Nobody wants to read that. Like after a while, it's like, come on now, give them a book that they could possibly sight read, and you keep reading it over and over again, you keep explaining it, they'll get it. So, how to choose? It depends on where your child is on the spectrum or where their disability is. Mild to moderate disabilities can benefit from those general education settings, support option resource rooms, inclusion specialists, IEP modifications. Somebody is having an IEP session here. Let me tell you, those IEPs are very, very, very important. You can put whatever, and don't let nobody tell you cannot put whatever in your IEP. You know what's in my child's IEP? He walks his Bojangles to the lunchroom every day. They put it in a warmer for him. That is in his IEP. Why? Because my baby only eat Bojangles right now, and every time I'm on my social media, I'm like, Bojangles, sponsor me, please. Y'all have no discounts. Every morning we go get bow rounds and spicy strips, as he calls them, and that's what he has for lunch every day. Sometimes he switches up and gets cute, and we have Wendy's. But he does not eat school lunch, period. So in that IEP, that's what it says. In that IEP, he also has something that somebody looked at me like I had two heads and said, he has a scribe. My son does not write well. So you are going to write it for him, and it is in your IEP. Write for him. That is why it's there. So know your laws. I'm telling you, it would make your life a lot easier, and the person has to do it. It is the law, okay? And most people don't think that can go in there, but it can. Those support options are very important. Finding somebody else in school that may not necessarily be in special ed, but can support your child. What's great about our campus is that we're K-12, and I'm also the advisor for Key Club. So I ask my Key Club members, and they go read to my special ed kids. And you take your resources in that building, and as a parent that's very involved, which I know the majority of us are, and we up there, hey, do you have a club or something that can help my kid? That is how I got it. I use my students to babysit my child. Use your community. You'd be very surprised on students, people, parents, teachers, students that would love to watch your baby because they interact with them every day. Moderate to severe disabilities may require some self-contained classrooms for specialized instruction because they focus on life skills, functional academics, and behavioral support. What functional academics are is it costs $20 to buy this thing in the store. You have $40, how much do you give them? That's life skills, functional academics, but they still need to know that when something is $20 and they have a $50 bill, that they get $30 back. It's very important. Because as much as we want God to have us live forever, it is not going to happen. And I think that's what hurt us the most, that we never want to leave our babies, but we are. And we need to make sure they have just the adequate life skills to endure as we move on. Hybrid approach. What my baby has. Some students can part of their in general, part of their in special education. Social interaction, necessary support. We realized that we have such a big autistic community that my child actually moved up a level in his resource class because we have K2 and then we have 3-5. Well, he moved up to the 3-5 because we had so many students with different abilities come in this year. The K-2 resource room was overrun. We have kids that are still not potty trained there. We have a couple kids that have Down syndrome. So we had more higher needs. So they was like, well, AJ can move on. So they moved up to a higher level grade and he's stepping up. Everybody, you do have that choice to request that in your building, you do. So know that if you're like, okay, it's a lot of behaviors in this class and it may not be working. Do you have another resource room that you can put my child in? They have to explore that option. They do. Even if it's a no because of spacing, time, you never know what you get until you ask. Mm-hmm. And even in the public schools, just ask. And they be like, well, we never thought about that. Let's try it. Doesn't work, so what? You've tried it. Okay? Stuff you should ask. Because most of us don't know what to ask sometimes. I didn't. What level of support does my child need academically and socially? You're with your baby every day. You know they can't do 2 + 2 is 4. What do they need? Okay? Socially, if your child parallel plays, don't force them to play with anybody else. Let them parallel play. My son sometimes goes over there with his friends. Most times he's looking at them doing the same thing. He's like, all right, I'm gonna mimic you, but don't touch me. I'm gonna mimic you, but don't come over here. And because I take him to Chuck E. Cheese, and this is just a little caveat, because I'm gonna give you nuggets outside of what this education thing is. Chuck E. Cheese, Gastonia, Chuck E. Cheese, Concord, Chuck E. Cheese, all the places have a sensory day on Sundays. Take your babies for that sensory day. They turn down the lights, they turn down the sounds, and they allow you, I think it's from like 10 to 12, to have your baby there during that time. There's sensory Sundays. Also, Urban Air does a sensory day. There are a lot of places around here that do sensory days that people don't know about. Because we, sometimes as autistic families, we get overwhelmed with a whole bunch of information. It's like a fire hose. And then we go, once they turn it off, we siphon through what is actually there. How does my child respond to large class sizes versus small groups? You need to know that. How do they thrive in big environments? If they don't do well when you take them to the grocery store with a lot of people, you need to put them in self-contained. If they don't do well as they are moving about with small groups and they like being in a circle, being the center of attention, then general education might be that. Look at their social skills. They will tell you, even if they don't talk, what they like. They will. All the grunts and the sounds and the things that my son used to make before he started talking, it told me everything I needed to know. Okay, because you have a unique language on your own with your baby, whether they are verbal or nonverbal, and they will tell you with their eyebrows, they will tell you with their eyes getting big, or they will pop you and say, I don't like this. And you will learn that language over time, and that is exactly what it means by largest class sizes, smaller class sizes. Does my child benefit from peer modeling and general education? Sometimes our kids learn from looking at other kids. They're like, oh, they learned, so I'm going to ask a question. Because I about melted into a puddle of tears when he walked into that Mount Island charter on the kindergarten orientation, and he was just starting with new language. And the first question that they asked is, who's going to kindergarten this year? And he said, me. And I lost it. I'm like, who's the kid going to kindergarten? Me. Because those are the milestones we wait for. Those are the things we hold our breath for. Those are the things that we're like, God, if you just give me one sign, and why you gave me this journey. And who said me? I wasn't the one. But yeah, you. Because God knew you could handle it. And I'm sorry to get religious. I'm not supposed to, I don't know if I'm supposed to be fixing the church and staying in here. But whoever you, universe, Mother Nature, whoever you talk to, this journey was for you. So that is what you have to find out. Do they look at other kids and see what they're doing? My child learned a lot of his language from YouTube. Some people really are against electronics, but my child is on his iPad. Listen, I bring an extra charger with me because he learned a lot of his language from echolalia. That's how he started. And he learned to count from, oh my God, what's the guy name? He's an old guy. Jack Hartman. Jack Hartman taught my baby things that I couldn't teach him. Jack Hartman taught him how to count. Jack Hartman, and if you notice, most autistic babies do have the same thing. My son knows German, some stuff in German, because he watches stuff in different languages. And you look at him like, how do you know German? Why are you watching that? So he knows the little Einstein theme song all in German. Because he loves the way it sounds, and he looks at me like that. I know this. But it's amazing what our kids pick up. So the mimicking makes a difference. It does. Are they trained in special education or aids available? It is so stretching the education world right now. There are literally some special educations that's 35 to 1.
Oh.
You have to find that school, and that leads me to somewhere else I work for. So at my table, I have these nice little pamphlets. I am privileged to work for this place called PEFNC. They might have called y'all. It's the ESA grant, okay, and the Opportunity Scholarship. I work for that company because they give $17,000 to your autistic child to go to private school. Okay, it's free to apply. You also get the Opportunity Scholarship. I don't care if you make $500,000, they'll still give you $5,000. And the $17,000 is no income limit at all.
Is it only for North Carolina or South Carolina?
North Carolina, but I can't find you a South Carolina plan, so come find me. I get my permission, I'll find you in South Carolina.
What were those amounts? I'm sorry.
One is, I definitely know for autism it's up to $17,000. For the Opportunity Scholarship, it is up to $5,000. Up to $9,000. I'm sorry, $9,000.
Yeah.
Yep, $9,000. So I do have the folders with the applications because still apply, because even though the application is technically closed, we pull from the waiting list usually 3 times over. Because I am one that gets the scholarship every year, I turn it down. But I want to stay in the database. I turn down money every year. I turn down $25,000 every year. Why? Because Mount Nolan's a great school for my kid. So when I turn down the money, you get the money. But it makes Congress know that we need this. So that's why I apply every year. I don't need the money. I don't. But one day, if he gets to a certain level, I may. Maybe Mount Nolan won't meet his needs when he gets to middle school. And then I have that option to put him in a private school. So I tell people, that Opportunity Scholarship, that ESA, is another outlet for you to get that specialized training at a school that can fit your child's needs. And no income, don't worry about your income, you'll get something. You'll get something. There's no income limit on the ESA grant, so I will say that. And with a guarantee, if you have autism spectrum disorder or any other disability that has an IEP, they usually give you the full $17,000. And if you homeschool, they give it to you directly, and you can use it for services, equestrian therapy, swim therapy, whatever you want to use, you're $17,000 for it. Yeah? So that goes back to, are these trained special education teachers? You can use the money for that. What are the long-term academic and social goals for your child? What do you want your child to be? What do you envision your child to be? Because I'm real. I'm keeping my child in Mount Nolan Charter, and the reason I'm keeping him there until 12th grade is because he gets a real degree. That's it. Some places only give you a certificate of completion, attendance. They've been here. No, I want him to be able to choose, if he gets to a certain level, to go to Western, who has a great special ed department. And they let kids come stay on campus at Western. ECU has the same thing. It's a 2-year program. But so what? They are great. I'm an alumnus of Western. Can you imagine your child walking across the stage at Western Carolina? And actually, Western is only $1,000 a year. So that's another thing. They're a private school. So you have to find out what your child can do realistically and what you want them to be. Are they going to be in a program that just teaches them life skills, which is amazing too? Are they going to be one that just goes straight to work after school? Which is fine too, but you have to figure out what your long-term academic and social goals, but I will encourage you not to limit your child, because in the blink of an eye, like mine, he can start talking. So don't limit it. Don't limit to whatever they do, because literally, like the guest speaker was today, he didn't speak till 4, and look at him, a doctorate degree. So I don't limit our babies, but I'm also realistic with my child. And it hit home, and that lady was in there crying because I literally went through that with people. Look at my child still has a pacifier. He's 8. And we walk out with this pacifier and I look at the people like, but I wish you would. But those are the things that, parents, some people don't understand. Some people didn't. One of his first grade teacher, and I love her to death, but she promised him that he could come over her house one day, and she didn't go through her promise. And I heard about it for 3 weeks, and I was like, baby, not this week. Not this week, I'm sorry. Not this week, I'm sorry. And it's hard to keep telling your baby, I'm sorry, but you can't go. I'm sorry, I know, but they said you could come, but you can't. He said, but I just want to play with boys. I just want to play. And you're looking at them like, don't tell my son nothing. If you can't do it, just don't tell him. Just don't tell him. And thank God we had other people that took him that weekend. But those are the things that with our babies, even with school friends, you have to remind the parents. Yeah, they play with them, but don't promise my child anything because he's going to say they're black and white. Ain't no gray area with autism, they're black and white. So those are the things that long-term social goals, academic goals, those go hand in hand. Here's some smart stuff, I guess. They say that inclusion can improve academic and social outcomes with proper supports. It can. My child, again, is becoming more active. Unfortunately, he's the only boy. My daughter just had it with me. I'm a grandmom 4 times over, so she just had twins. And he goes and picks up the nephew all the time. He's like, hey, I'm your uncle. It's finally your boy. Okay? So playing with boys is a big deal for him because now he's 8. He's starting to become socially aware that I'm supposed to play with boys too. And I hate my niece because you're a girl. And, those are the things, them being around different peers, and some people like him, but some people not like him, makes it better for his overall development. Self-contained classrooms benefit students with intensive needs. Yes, it does. If you know your child is in a wheelchair or they have other disabilities or their ID, those are things that will help you in that classroom. Them learning feeding skills, them learning toileting skills. Because I celebrated the victory last month. My son is 100% potty trained. He's 8. He's 100% potty trained. And I was like, no more good nights because I qualified for none. The Aeroflow told me no. Okay? So I'm in here clearing the shelves of good nights. And now I don't have to. But that was a victory that we get small victories, like they said, every day. It's something that we look at every day where it's just small things. And it took us 8 years to get there. And me telling him every time he went there, I'm like, you smell grown, right? I need you to go to the bathroom. So look, but he went to school, he wore underwear all day and would come home and put the pull-up on. So those are the things that we're working through, particularly life skills, showing him that big boys go to the bathroom. And he's like, oh, we do. So then all of a sudden he just stopped and went to the bathroom. It's crazy how it clicks in 2 moments. So, case study. A student with mild autism succeeded in an inclusive setting with a dedicated aide, while a student with severe intellectual disability thrived in a self-contained classroom. It is where your child is. Meet them where they are. Meet them where they are. I know most of us parents, if you had a school-age child through COVID, you probably died a little bit on the inside. Because students with special needs thrive on routine. If they were not in the building, oh my God, your life was a living HE double hockey stick. So let me tell you. And mine, thank God he did all right, but their daycare ended up opening because they were like, all right, we're just gonna bring him back in. Because I know, and then we had to shut down again for 2 weeks because we all got COVID. But those are the things that they thrive off of. Okay, you have to have it where, all right, he goes to school. Our routine is simply this. He rides to school because I'm assistant principal in high school. He just walks to elementary. But at 8 on the dot, he walks out the door and waits for his friends to walk down the hallway. And the teachers' kids go over to the elementary school together. That is his routine. When I am sick, I had surgery. I had a crazy year last year with 3 major surgeries back to back. I got hurting. But I dropped him off at 8 o'clock every morning at school. I wasn't supposed to be driving. But guess who's there at 8 o'clock? Him. Because if he's not at school at 8 o'clock walking with his friends, it was a problem. It threw his day off every day. He goes through his routine. He goes to resource twice a day, in the morning for reading and the afternoon for math. And he thrives. He knows what he's going to eat for lunch. He knows what teacher's going to be there when a sub is not there. When a sub is there the next day or they're coming in, they'll say, hey, AJ, a sub is coming. I just want you to know there's going to be somebody different in here today. But when you have that relationship with the teacher, and sometimes some teachers suck. I'm just going to be honest with you. Some teachers suck. Okay? And they could care less about our child and our child's needs until it's them. But if you give them an understanding and say, I don't want you to treat my child different. I just want you to treat them equitably. That's it. I don't care about, he don't need no extra lollipop. My child don't like sweets anyway. He don't like nothing from the church box. He can care less about your little jumping frog. Treat him equitably. And once you do that, he'll know he's a part of the community. And that is what happens. But again, everybody's not going to have that same love for your child as you are, but they are going to know you are going to be the loudest in the room and the loudest advocate for your child. So, I knew I probably wasn't going to take the whole time, but okay, good. Some of the conclusion, no single approach is best. Placement should match your students' needs. Some things are just not good for every child. All right. Next, parents should collaborate with schools to ensure the appropriate services and accommodations. Even if you are CMS, Gaston County, wherever you live, South Carolina, you have the choice to put your child anywhere, even if they're out of district. Don't tell them you don't have it. You do. There's usually one time you can use the waiver where you can take your child out of district and they provide transportation. This school is not the best school for my child, so you are going to provide this bus and come get my baby. Yeah, they are. They are. So understand that you have that right. I want to say you can use it at least one time, I do. And sometimes they give you the choice. Sometimes if you are in a district school, they'll send you a letter and say, hey, this is your opportunity to choose a school that, because your school might be failing, maybe it's a D school or a C school, and they should send you a letter and say, this is the time you have a choice to transfer your child out of this school because this may not be the right environment. I get a letter from CMS like that at least once a year because of the school district I live in. I live in Gaston County now, which is in Mount Holly, and our school, I can't remember what school is our district, might be Pine Mill Elementary, where they're like a C school. So I got a letter just the other day saying, hey, we got this new school opening in Gaston County. If you want to have your child come over there, we got open house. And I'm like, no. But they give you the opportunity and a chance to choose your school. And you can actually go to your district office and request that. You can. Next, parents should, regularly review IEP goals and student progress to determine if placement adjustments are needed. Guys, I can't stress more. Your child's goals are going to change probably month to month sometimes. They give you overarching goals. They do. And don't ever let your special ed department, caseworker, whomever you're working with, tell you can't change IEP goals. It's a lie. You change them anytime you get ready. If my child decides he don't want Bojangles no more, and I'm gonna have to tell him now the bag gonna be Wendy's, that's what it's gonna be. Maybe he doesn't want to do resource one day, he wants to stay in class all day. Okay, we have that choice. You have that choice. Change your IEP goals to meet their needs. It changes sometimes monthly, sometimes it changes daily. You just never know what is going to come down the pike when it comes to your child. They are a unicorn. They change, okay? Also, this is my contact information. This is my real number, okay? It comes directly to my phone. I know some people are speakers, they really have this. Wait till, hold on, why Google gets it? No, come straight to my phone, okay? Once you click this thing, it's a beautiful thing that is free. If you are any type of business, it's called Popple. It's a digital card. When you click it, it has my IG, it has my email, it has my real phone number, it has all the things. So all you do is say, I want to connect with this person, and it'll send you my information, and I will stay in touch. Just know that as a mom, as an educator, as I see other assistant principals, IEP kids, autistic families, and I talk to them through my organization, that you are not alone. Making this decision is one of the hardest decisions to make in your life. What do I want my child to do? Where do I want them to be? And you'll have people tell you, put them in self-contained because I don't think they won't do it. No, try them in gender ed first. Try. Because you just never know if your child is going to step up and be that person you never thought they would be, even if they're nonverbal. It's okay. We have nice little cards, and as a matter of fact, another lady's presenting on way they can communicate. They can be in a general education setting and use their AAC device. We'll make accommodations. But people don't know that. You always think, oh, my child's special ed, so I'm just going to go ahead and let them make their recommendations. They're the professionals. Sometimes they get it wrong. Sometimes I get it wrong. Okay? I can give you all the advice in the world, but it may not work for your child. Know what works for your child. Do not let the system dictate anything that does not work for you. Because at the end, you're going to have to live with that decision you made for that child. And again, we as parents make the wrong decisions too. I made a couple wrong decisions or things that I thought my child could not do. As we speak, my child is playing baseball in a regular baseball league. And I was so scared that the kids would not accept him. But last fall, when he played soccer, the whole league stopped the game so he could kick the ball in the goal. They stopped it. And they said, hey, AJ about to kick. And the crowd went wild. Why? Because I let them in my world. You have to let people in your world. As weird as it is. I was just talking to a parent at the table. As soon as my child stems, we stem together. And we out there, we doing all the things. And listen, and sometimes I grab the passing and be like, what? We all got passes. And it's crazy how it works. It's crazy how when your child sees you stepping, and my child be like, stop it, mommy, all right, that's enough. But me and him are both jamming the SpongeBob. We're both jamming the Roblox. I learned this song called Sick of My Boys. I didn't even know what that song was, but it's from Roblox. My child's obsessed with Roblox. And I buy Robux every day. But those are the things that you're learning and you're growing. And when it comes to their education, I don't do homework with him. You know why? Because we ain't doing no homework. You better get these skills in school. I'll work on some skills at home, but he's not going to work at home. Most of my babies, most of my special ed students do not do work at home. Maybe y'all got some miracle formula. If y'all kids work at home, tell me what you're doing, because it ain't happening. They say school for school. What am I doing this at home, mommy? No. And I don't do it. Whatever his capacity is, that's where I stop. That's where I stop. So understand, they'll get it. They got 12 years of school to do, and plus more. They will get the skills. Don't feel guilty for not doing that homework page they brought home. When you tired yourself, this is a 24-hour selfless job. That sometimes, I know you ain't no real special ed parent if you ain't hiding in your car eating Wendy's before you go get them. That's me. Before you go get them from that aftercare program, or you're going to Starbucks before it's time to go get them, and just sitting there and saying, I just need a break before I go get him because it's mommy. And even if they're not talking, even if they signing to you, because that was his first language, sign language. And I didn't know sign language. So he was doing stuff and I'm looking at him like, well, what you need? And then he started pulling me to them and telling me what he needed, but we're not going to get it right. Educationally, we're not going to get it right. But it's good to learn what we need and what we need for our child. Is there any questions for me? Yes.
My child is in that gray area where he is too advanced for special education, but not quite ready for general education.
Mm-hmm.
Academics, he has it down. But writing, he knows all his letters.
Mm-hmm.
I told him the other day, write Daniel in your tooth fairy note.
Mm-hmm.
And he wrote Daniel.
Yeah.
It didn't look like, but he knew it. He
That's
just
right.
couldn't show it.
That's right.
So the team at the school, they're proposing that there's a different program where it's 3 autistic kiddos and 3 neurotypical kiddos,
Mm-hmm.
but it's at another school. They don't have it at that school.
Mm-hmm.
This has been his home school for so long, and he seems to be comfortable there.
Right.
So sometimes I'm into situations where I don't want to hinder him, but then now I'm taking him out of the school mid-year. he's gonna be in a different classroom that could be better for him academically, because he's getting exposure, where in special ed, he's not getting the material.
That's right.
So,
That's right. That's a hard decision because at first, I'm going to tell you what I did. That was a decision I had to make when he was 4. They came to me after they stopped services with CDSA and said, hey, we want to put him in a pre-K that has a whole bunch of autistic kids. And I said, no, because he's going to regress. And it's nothing against any other body's baby. Okay? But I knew the skills that my son already had. You know the skills that you already had. Listen, at least your son right there, your mom's still right, AJ. His name is Antonia. Okay? But because we call him AJ, he writes AJ. And the teachers let him. Okay? You have to decide, and it's going to be a hard decision on whether to do that. I chose not to. Because y'all figure it out. Y'all figure it out.
in school.
It ain't my job. They pay you big bucks to figure this out. And if he ain't meeting the expectation, you challenge him to meet the expectation. And then maybe at the end of the year, if this doesn't work, then I'll move him. I'm not moving my child nowhere. After his routine happens and he got his routine down, make it work. And I know that's a hard decision to make. And it may be something that they keep pushing you on because they just want you out of their hair. I don't want, if she moving, that'd be easy for us. Your job ain't easy. This is your job. Do it. Do it. So personally, me, please do not take my advice to heart. But I don't like upsetting the apple cart in the middle of the year. That is probably going to be, for me, that was one of the worst decisions that I probably could have made if moving him from somewhere that he was used to. I saw it through. And that's how I am. If something doesn't work mid-year, okay, let's keep trying this in the end of the year. At the end of the year, if we come together at the end of the year IEP meeting and says, we still worked on it, it didn't work, then I'll move on. Because he's going to use social skills. He may not express it to you, but he's going to be like, hey, where are my friends? What did you do? And it may make him regress even more.
Yeah. I feel like to get a little pushback, because I did bring it up, well, why can't he be in general education with an aid? Yeah. And I feel like I got pushback there.
You're going to get pushback because they don't want to provide it.
And I'm like, why can't he get an aid?
Push it, push it, push it, push it. Mine doesn't have an aid, but the TA works with him. He don't have no aid, that's one-on-one. Yeah, no, it's not one-on-one. No ma'am, no ma'am, because they don't have the resources. But guess what you do have? And most elementary schools do have a TA. Let them come work with him. Let him go to his resource class. Let him get most of his skills in his resource class, because that's where he probably goes.
Yeah, he goes there too.
Let them do it. You develop, this is the best thing I would advise for parents. Develop your relationship with your resource. That's where most of the stuff getting done anyway. My child be looking around in general ed sometimes. And sometimes he does really well.
Resources reading?
Huh?
Resources reading?
Resources reading and math, because those are his 2 goals. Do your job. Okay? Because he gets a homework folder from resource, he gets a homework folder from general ed. I decide which one to do that day. And he gets it done in aftercare. And we had to have, that was the come to Jesus I had to have with them. Because I went over there and I said, do y'all know that I will sue the hell out of you and still work at this building? And smile at you every day? Y'all do know that. And she looked at me like, no ma'am, do your job.
I need you to come to my school.
Yeah.
And I do offer those services. ABM Cool Kids, I sit in on IEP meetings because they will snow you.
They will.
Yeah, that's what I feel. It feels
That's not something you can do. Yes, it is.
You can tell me where I can, because I'm
Yes, and I'm an advocate, and I've gone to several meetings, and people have gotten mad because they like, you here. How you get here? Who taught how to law? Because I'm an assistant principal.
Yeah.
So anything you want to say to me, anything you want to text, even if you want to text in confidence, and you do not have to tell them I'm coming to get meeting. I'll be on the phone talking about, hey y'all. and I'm listening because last thing, and then you can talk to me afterwards because I know I got to wrap up. I had a lady, she didn't even tell them I was on the phone. And they were trying to say, you can't get no behavior intervention plan. I said, yes, you can. They was like, who was that? An advocate. Don't try it. And your advocate can be whoever you want to. They do not have to be licensed. So please don't believe that either. They can be your friend from the church who has a child that's autistic. They can be your advocate. There was no laws.
They be scared when
Yes.
you say that word.
Because your applicant is who's going to fight for you.
And you meet with the
And-
principal, so you meet?
Yeah, when you meet for the IEP.
Yeah, you get with the principal, your whole team is there.
So the principal's agenda is to save money for the school?
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Now,
And since
I'm saying that loud,
Yeah.
so I know what it is. Okay.
And since I'm an admin, I know that's what it is. They trying to save money. So any other questions you have for me, you can come talk to me. I'm here till 5. We're here till 5, right? Well, we're here till whatever. So I am here for you. Please come see me at my table. Shameless plug, I'm having a gala. If y'all want to attend my gala, and we raise money for families that can't afford their services. You call us, we pay your bill within our budget, and we also choose one family to give $1,000 tax-free to at the end of the year at our gala. So, you have anybody you want to recommend?
When is
We
it?
have
When is
nominated
it?
family.
And also it's a wall.
It is August 2nd, and we're having an autism wall on April 12th at the Caramount Gastonia Ghost Pepper School. So if you can come to that too, Channing Joy is the same day. So if you live in Charlotte, go to Channing Joy. You live close to me, come to Gastonia Ghost Pepper.
One, but ain't